Hi, everybody. Welcome to Friday. My gosh, it's been a minute since I did my last broadcast, but there's been so much happening, and I've been having such a beautiful time this September. I love September for one. It's my birthday month. My birthday is within the month. Sometimes it's a month-long celebration. So there's a lot of renewal energy. There's a lot of coming to what's next, right? This whole year for me has just rebirthed and started over again. And as I land into the experience of transitioning from the end of my last year into this one, I can feel the energy change. And so, having studied numerology and having really taken a loving to, hi, Shelley Smith, to the numbers and the energy, the planetary shifts that move around our calendar year, that move around our cycles, that move around our week, our month, our years, playing into how we experience those, especially once we're aware of them, really is impactful in allowing ourselves time to integrate and time to dream into our next piece of what we want to create in life, what we really love. Because what is the point of not living fully while here on earth? We forget sometimes in the mundane busyness of life that we have a choice, that we can cultivate a life that we love. We sometimes feel at the whim of our emotions or circumstances, at the whim of whatever's happening in the world. And it's not our fault. It hasn't been impressed upon us to come back to the power within us, to shift our thinking and our feeling states, to decide what we want, to recognize when we're not in responsibility for that action and that choice, and to understand all that space between and the difference. And so as I was settling in to come live today, I was feeling into the energy of today. And I have so many beautiful colleagues who write about the energies, talk about the energies, and they've been really, I don't know, pulled to discussing it in more of a experiential kind of thing. Like, how are you experiencing it in your body? How are you relating to this energy? And so as I dive into kind of like the foundation of today, maybe the invitation is to really dive into what you're wanting to shift in life, where you're looking for something to change. Where is that I'm done with this moment and I'm ready to call myself to that next level? Because it's in that decision that so much begins to unfold that we can't see when we're running through life with blinders on. And so much of it is how we are consuming information. How are we consuming our time in the day? How are we consuming feedback from the environment? And so this conversation today is stemming from a continued conversation in so many of the groups I'm a part of from last week in Phoenix with Joy Kingsborough and Jonah Live, and some of the things that Jonah was sharing as insight, as these connections within ourselves, what we say we want and what we're actually doing, and having those two things come together in coherence. So our mind and our heart are aligned. And so one of the examples for all of us was, really being truthful. What are we consuming on a daily basis that could be playing into some of the time, the energy, the investment, and deterring us from landing into maybe more devotion, maybe more of the determination, maybe more of the focus in our own alignment to building our businesses, to creating the lives we love, to cultivating really healthy, vital relationships, including the one with ourself and our body. And I love this so much because so many conversations in my own circle of friends have been around like what's been shifting in our body. What have we noticed? Especially, as we do a lot of this energy work, we can end up storing some of this energy literally in our body because we're holding on to the resistance of letting things go. We think we need other food. We think we need to eat at a certain time. We think we need to do all the things. And in my experience this last year, it feels like everything got flipped upside down because all the ways I knew to work out, all the ways I knew to eat, all the ways that I thought my body wanted to do things came to a halt once again in this almost dramatic flare, to where I was given the opportunity to take another look, broaden the perspective, take a 360-degree view. What happens when the things we take for granted no longer flow and we have to find ourselves connected back within to choose what's next? Do we throw the towel in and give up? Do we fight to hold on to the righteousness of what we thought had to be? Do we land into the unknown with a little bit more peace and ease, or do we kind of go kicking and screaming along the way? So this is kind of what's rising up today and wants to flow through in conversation. So I'd love to know, for those of you here online, if this is something that maybe has been even top of mind for you. Where can you nurture yourself more? Where can you love yourself just a little bit more? Where can you let go of what was of the past to break free and land into what it is now? I just had my 54th birthday. My life today is a bit different than it was when I was 24. My body is different than it was at 24. It's not better. It's not worse. It's full of a lot more wisdom in 30 years, a lot more acceptance, and a lot more awareness through like the lens of the observer, to where I was constantly pushing and punishing and forming and labeling and construing myself into a box that didn't need to be there. And there's so much more freedom now. And what's really funny is, whether or not weight fluctuates on us, whether or not we land into our perfect perception of who we are, we all have a space where we feel better in our bodies. And there's no reason we can't feel amazing and extraordinary in our bodies now. And I think that's really huge in the awareness and acceptance piece of what goes through our minds and how do we feel about that in relationship to where we are currently, in relationship to what we believe is possible for us, and in relationship to need. What do we feel like we absolutely need and can't survive without? And so I've been playing in this a little bit in this conversation around consumption. When we focus on business, especially online business, and even drilling it down more, coaches, helping people in service online, we can so easily begin to compare ourselves to other people's success, other people's stories, other people's perception of what's happening in their businesses. And we forget that everyone has a starting and an ending point, and that sometimes what we're comparing to is someone else's 10 years of working through their money stories, working through the growth of their business. What we perceive as right now is someone else's long story into this evolution and growth, and even now, like where I'm at in my business, what did I deem not possible before? Where was that belief pattern so embedded in my body that it wasn't even allowing me to think beyond impossibility when it comes to making money online, when it comes to charging for offers, when it comes to offering the offers, when it comes to showing up, taking up space? Where do we constrict ourselves? Where do we consume so much of everyone else's should, need tos, and have tos that we don't even know what it's like to land in our own energetic being, in our own essence? And we get so patterned at doing what's expected of us, we're not paying much attention or mind to what's pulling us in a direction that might be different. And so just landing into that today, as we have this 4 energy inviting us to build a foundation of stability, of safety, of strength, of leadership. Where are we willing to lead ourselves in participation of our dream in our own life? Where are we willing to land into creating our own foundation of love within here, cultivating a relationship of safety in the body, and really landing into the acceptance of, up until this point, I may not have had that relationship, and I can start today. I can land into this today. The trust that I think is not that is outside of me, the lack of trust outside of me, the lack of trust in relationship, the lack of trust in connection, is really a mirror for the lack of trust in me and my body. When I've abandoned myself, when I've let everything else become more important than how I feel about me, when I've let the world dictate who I am instead of landing in my power and choosing for myself, when I've let someone else decide for me instead of voicing my own decision and then choosing again and pivoting and choosing again. And it's this beautiful expression of what's possible for us when we open up our own awareness. We expand our own perception of self. We look at our life in terms of what roles we've been playing, what identities we've cultivated, not all towards the negative, but knowing that our mind is made to perceive things in lack, to protect and and make sure that we stay alive. And so where has some of this patterning landed into our reality and created something that we think we're stuck in? Because it's truly about understanding our own patterning so we don't fall prey or at the whim of our emotions around what we've made things mean along the way. And so many of us have gone through loss, and so many of us have gone through changes in life, and so many of us are hitting an age where our kids are growing and our relationships may be changing, and we're worried about what's in the future or who we are when we don't have all the things to keep us busy, especially as women who've had children. That empty nest syndrome is real. How will you choose to spend your days? Are you going to just be at the whim of whatever arises, or will you put some intention behind how you want to feel and what you want to create? So many women that I speak to, so many clients I end up working with, have this bigger dream, and yet they don't think they're worthy of birthing that into the world, or they don't feel like they can have the money and the love, or they have the money and they don't feel like they can love this passionate part of themselves, like they have to sacrifice one or the other. And it's very subtle, and it's very sometimes not even in our awareness, but it feels like it's not possible because. And those are the places where we can really land into what are we choosing to believe about ourselves. And no matter where we've been, there's nothing broken or anything to fix about you. You just have been lacking different perspective or expanded awareness. And right now, in this moment, you get to experience yourself and where you want to go next. And so we get this feeling like, oh my gosh, I have this amazing business I want to birth. I have this experience I want to create into the world. And I feel like I'm right here. I've got everything I need to put that in action. I've got all the proof and all the skills and all the wherewithal that I've done in my life to get over the other side of the bridge and make this dream a reality. And I'm all in. Tell me all the things I need to do, whatever I need to learn, whatever I need to absorb, what class I need to take. I'm going to do it. I'm willing to do all the things. And yet we find ourselves still in the body, unable to cross the metaphorical bridge. The body is frozen. The body says no. And we're like, what the heck is going on? Everything I've known to help me through that before is now no longer working. And I'm not even sure what I need moving forward. But I know there's something. I feel the pull. And for me, when that happened, that whole experience was personified on stage as my mentor was talking about this inner work, this inner journey that frees us from what we might not even be perceiving as fear, but this fight or flight, the survival mode we've been operating from for so long. This proving, this I've got to get it done, this time ticking, that all these little things that work that we think is in our favor until we meet ourselves in that transition of life where all of a sudden we're wanting to live the rest of our days through the lens of peace and ease and love. And even though we want to create new things for ourselves or birth the relationships into something bigger or cultivate new relationships with our grown children, there are things about us from the past that are no longer going to come with us in the future. And we see it, we feel the difference. Today is inviting us into life beyond that fixed mindset of what we might not have even recognized as fixed, and into the infinite possibility that growth and evolution can land us into. And especially when we talk about our mind, our thinking patterns, how we're picking up these patterns from sometimes outside of us, sometimes within us, and what we're internalizing them to mean, and then what emotions are we attaching to them based on the belief of what we believe we can have. And are we even thinking in possibility, or are we thinking in that's not for me, or those aren't in the cards for me, or I don't even know where that takes me next. I don't think that that's something I'm going to experience in this lifetime. And these are all very sexy, very convincing stories of our mind. Our mind is a master storyteller, and it will tell truths and untruths in effort to keep us protected from what we say we don't want to feel again, whether it's embarrassment or abandonment or comparison or any of those situations in life that feel like they remind us of a time when. But for every one of those, there's an example and another possibility to shift the story. And so today, this energy of today, if you're born on this day, there's this essence of you that's full of love. I want to create a life I love. Not only do I want to love it, but I want to create even more that harmonizes and amplifies this feeling state when I'm feeling whole within. In those moments where everything went right, it was because you decided within. It wasn't because of circumstances outside of you. And then it lands into the leadership of, I want more of this. I'm going to lead my life through here. I know there's another way. I know I'm stuck in my mind. I know there's something more for me. And I want the connection, not only with others, but with myself. And so the conversation becomes, am I willing to give that to myself, gift that to myself? Am I willing? And what's consuming me right now? What am I consuming? And what's consuming me that's cultivating this environment of protection? And am I willing just for today, for the next few days, to pay attention to that and to choose something else in its place? Because when we do, it's like this world opens up. We've been asleep for so long, and all of a sudden we're like, oh, it's been within me all along. And so as I land into, coming live and talking to you about this, it was one of these realizations this weekend in offering next breakthrough readings in person. These are my peers. These are my some of them are colleagues and community who have been around for the last couple of years online, and here we are in person connecting, and I'm offering numerology readings, and I'm really finding in my mind where it's like, I'm not sure if anybody's gonna buy these readings, but here we go. And it was just such a breath of fresh air that people did want them and they signed up for them, and it didn't matter their growth. And when you love the essence of that experience, you want more of it. And so I came home with this fire in my belly of, now I can share it with you. I can share it with my community. I can share it with the online version of what we created in person, because they're specific to you. It's taking the mastery that I've learned, the mastery and even numerology, and giving you an experience through the cards that are aligned with your birth chart. And they're so refreshing, and they're so inviting, and they're so enlightening into the insights that come within you. It's like all of a sudden, whatever's been at the tip of your tongue or at the edge of your fingertips, you're like, I totally missed that, which is your next breakthrough. So if that sounds fun and exciting for you, I'm inviting you to check the links above. I'm inviting you to join me in community, in the Empowered Rising, Women Rising community, where we're always playing in different essences of these thoughts and feeling states, where we can raise ourselves up in our own lives and businesses to empower ourselves even more. And I thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, your weekend, feeling into more of what you're wanting, letting yourself have grace for where you might have been stuck in a fixed pattern, and ready now to expand yourself into growth by choosing what else is possible. Maybe looking at these places that are consuming some of your time and just letting it go in the curiosity and openness of experimenting in a new way for yourself to birth what's next for you. And I'll talk to you guys next week. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Message me with any questions, and I will talk to you again real soon. Bye for now.